Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the podcast. My name is Andrew from Rowis Wellness. I'm here together with Lucie from. Um,
Charleston Lake Apothecary.
oh,
Are you having a moment, Andrew?
yes, I blanked for a second there.
Well, I'm also a homeopath, and I offer Reiki and a few other energy modalities. Always
Hmm.
happy to be here talking about natural medicine.
Definitely. So today we're going to be talking about coughs and colds. And
Perfect.
yeah, so we're going to start
Which
with,
I think is a very common thing, right? I think everybody's had a cough or a cold for some reason or another.
especially in February and January.
Yeah. We were sitting, so the background was that Andrew and I were sitting by the fireplace, but I could go back there because at the end of the
Sure.
day, my background is not changing with the system. So it's like, what the heck? But it's so much prettier. Let's just do that. Let's sit by the fireplace and talk about this. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Okay.
There we go.
So,
Yes. So
do you want to start with the
like,
first remedy?
yeah, I just want to do a little bit of explanation with the cough
Yeah.
and cold. Um, I think people should, or hopefully understand that when we have coughs or colds, they're for different reasons,
Hmm.
and they could look differently as well or sound differently. So a cough is not just a cough for everybody. It's not a one size fits all. Even a cold, like we'll all have different symptoms that it still be considered a cold, right?
Yeah.
So what remedies do you plan on using today? We're talking about.
Let's see. I have 8 that I can talk about, so I'll let you pick first.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to do one of my favorites is Rust Talks,
Mm-hmm.
and just going to make sure. So what we find with this is that the cold and cold wet weather bothers people.
Mm-hmm.
You feel better with warm, and you get an aggravation of your symptoms with drafts.
Yes.
So don't sit close to a door. um, you have also aggravated from uncovering or getting one extremity cold. So, like if you have your foot sticking out, a lot of left-sided complaints, like your left, nose could be filled up, or your throat hurts you on the left rather than all over. Um, it's kind of you feel better when you're moving around, and it's always worse in the morning when you get up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so along with that, you could have obviously you can also, if you have a fever, you can have fever blisters too around the lips.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you could also uh, develop bronchitis or pneumonia from that, or as that if you don't take care of it soon enough, your symptoms will develop and get worse.
Yeah. So
Um,
Rust
so the
talks.
rust con it's called
Yeah.
toxicodendron. It's a very long name. Rust tox is what we call it. So it's well known for influenza, so flus,
Mm-hmm.
but today it's also good for colds as well,
Yeah.
knowing that there's a difference between the two. Um, and if you do get pneumonia, the cough produces a really rusty colored sputum. So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
In those cases, rust tox would be a good choice.
The rusty gate remedy.
Rusty gay remedy. Yes. Those are the few symptoms. Of course, there's so many symptoms. Best to check with a homeopath, or I mean, you could try a few and see if it works. But
Yeah.
at some point, if it doesn't work, you're coming back to a homeopath.
Well, this one is good for when they're winter camping. So when a foot comes out of their sleeping bag, or when their boot gets stuck in the snow and they get sick the next day.
Yeah, which one's this? That
The
Rust
rust
Tux?
talks, yeah. So when they're
Yeah, yeah.
they're walking in the snow and their boot gets stuck and they keep walking. I've known someone that's happened
Wet feet don't help. Wet and cold. Yeah. That's
Okay.
right. All right, which one are you doing?
Okay, so I'm gonna do Bryonia. Bryonia, of
Okay.
course, is always dry and painful, so it'll always be like a dry cough and hurt. It's the cough is worth with any motion, so walking sometimes even the cough makes the cough worse. Um, Sometimes even breathing can aggravate the cough as well. It's felt
Hmm.
in the whole head and chest, and
Right.
they could hold their chest or ribs or head while coughing. It's worse eating, worse swallowing, worse overheated, and worse lying with head low. So I'm not sure.
Oh, so your head below your body. So like
Yeah.
if you're lying backwards. Okay, gotcha.
It's better being still, but it's aggravated by just breathing. So I don't know how still you can
Well, breathing's
possibly
a good
be.
thing. Like you have to breathe here.
And it's better open air.
Right.
So I think they would at least need like a fan to move the air around.
Yeah, isn't bryonia one where moving is better?
No, moving is worse.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
It makes it worse. There you go. I know there was a movement in there.
That it's really it's similar to Rust Talks in that aspect, except continued motion is better for Rust Talks, and Bryonia, any movement is worse.
Okay.
Yeah. And
All right.
which one's next? Do you want me to go
I'm
next?
gonna do gel.
Gels?
I'm gonna do gelsemium. No, wait your turn.
Okay.
Not that we're gonna do 8 necessarily, but
Yeah,
of
I
course,
just I
it's
have them
probably
prepared.
you have them prepared.
Just in
Oh, and
case
today I
we.
actually bought. This is a Rust Tox remedy. So these are
Mm-hmm.
pellets. And then you can get, this is not Rust Tox, but you can get liquid types of
Yes.
remedies. And then what's really good if you can, this is not it, but you can get essential oils, eucalyptus, and put it in a diffuser. That would be really nice as well, especially if you're
Eucalyptus
stuffed up, right?
Eucalyptus and mint together make a good tea for it
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, this one's peppermint, and I
Mm-hmm.
find that if you've got more of a head cold, it's really helpful. But I would
Okay.
do it, if you wanted to put a drop under your nose. But the diffuser for me it works better.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a slow amount at a time, and of course, it kind of takes the dryness out of the room too, so that helps as well.
For certain people, yes. The.
Yes. So gelsemium is
Mm-hmm.
the one that I'm doing next, and it's you can get a lot of fatigue and weakness with this when you're having a cold or a cough, and
Mm-hmm.
you get chills alternating with flushes of heat, so you don't know if you're coming or going, right? You
Mm-hmm.
get some trembling with that chills, um, and that symptoms sometimes just hang on for a lot longer than you would anticipate. So this is when gelsemium would be a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else? Face is flushed and worn out.
I remember there was
Um,
something about the discharge. I forgot which though. Um,
of the nose.
yeah, nose, spit, any discharge. I'm just
I'm
trying to
not
remember.
seeing any. I just got the book open just to make sure. The cold symptoms are again on the left
Mm-hmm.
side, just like where tucks are were.
Okay.
So if you've got more left side, there's this numbness and heaviness of the tongue too, like your tongue feels funny. Um, and then there's some eye vision issues going on. I'm not really seeing anything here about discharge.
Okay. I guess I'm
Um,
remembering wrong. I
there
know
is
there's
some.
something mentioned about it. I just don't remember it right now. I don't have my books open. Let's see.
Um, what else is going on? Headaches for sure in the back of the
Mm-hmm.
neck to the forehead. Your head feels very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And you can get some facial neuralgia too, which is just like some numbness, right?
Yeah.
And then you get some in the extremities. You start to see trembling from the extremities, or even some chills beginning in the hands or the feet. Um, Especially the legs. There's some heaviness and trembling, and then there's like it talks about this paralysis, but I think it's like they're recommending here, like, or telling us it's like a writer's cramp, where you can get a cramp more than a paralysis, just like cramping.
Yeah.
So if you have anything like that, then gelsemium might be a good choice to try. Yeah, I like gelsemium. Now, it's true, like with remedies, you could try them and you'll say they don't work, right? And it's because you don't have the right remedy to affect your symptoms.
And of course,
So then
for
you're trying another one.
yeah, for people who are new to homeopathy, they'll probably be using combo remedies as well, which is more of a hit and miss. They usually work
Yeah,
about 60% of the time, but sometimes you'll need a specific remedy.
yeah.
Yeah. So.
And the thing with homeopathy that I really like is if the remedy is not for you, it's not going to give you any side effects. It's
Mm-hmm.
just your body's just gonna, excrete it, right? So, um, but when you find the right one, you know pretty much after you're taking the dose, you start to see the relief of the symptoms, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the
Yeah.
remedy I'm gonna do next is pulsatilla. I don't
Okay,
think
it's
you
on
can
my
do.
list too.
Do you want me to switch it to something else?
No, no, go ahead.
Okay.
A whole bunch here. I'm like you. I think I had nine.
Nice. I was.
I know.
I wanted to make sure we don't overlap.
That's okay. I got a list going on here, and yours is good. Go for
So
it.
pulsatilla is usually good for colds, asthma, and allergy. Most of my list overlaps for all three. Their discharge are yellowish greens, so it can be yellow or green.
Sweet.
Um, they're really gross. It has a loose, rattling cough. If you've heard one of those, you know what that sounds like right away. It's not.
Yeah.
It's like you have a piece of something stuck in your throat while you're coughing. Uh, children coughing at night can be dry in the evening and wet in the morning. Uh, During the day, it can be very loose. There can be a lot of tearing up while you're coughing, and also involuntary urination again while coughing.
Well, coughing. Yeah,
Yeah, so the
that
cough
happens to
can
us
make you
middle-aged women.
leak. It's worse in the evening, worse warm rooms, uh, worse in at night after you're covered up and ready for bed. It can just come on, um, and worse warm drinks. So this remedy is worse. Basically, everything you would think a person should have. Well,
Well, it's also because the pulsatilla remedy, I think,
mm-hmm.
um, is because the reason we would recommend a pulsatilla is the ones that are always complaining, right? Those people that um, always complain, don't have any satisfaction, kind of attached to the mom, and nothing seems to work, right?
Yeah, and this one is better gentle motion. Basically, what I'm doing right now, just rocking back and forth, or some other gentle moves. Open, cool air, and propping up with pillows. So having that big stack of pillows behind you.
Nice, nice. All right.
Kind of fits my grandfather.
I actually changed my mind. I'm going to do Cali bichromicum.
Okay.
Cali bi, because
Cali Bic.
it has really what?
Oh,
Cali B?
we called it
It
Cali
has,
Bic in school.
okay. It has really distinctive symptoms. So I think
Yeah.
this is worth talking about, because sometimes you'll see kids with that look like this. These symptoms are pretty drastic,
And
right?
I've seen
Where
a
you
lot
have,
of adults.
yeah, it's true. They're vomiting ropes or strings of mucus.
Mm.
They crave sweets. I know. They have thick cracks in their nose,
Mm-hmm.
and if you take them out, they could start bleeding.
Yeah.
They have a nasal discharge or post-nasal discharge, which is thick and purulent, yellow and stringy.
Yeah.
The sinuses could be acute and chronic sinusitis.
Mm-hmm.
You can have headaches in one spot, and there's this heaviness or burning at the root of the nose.
Mm-hmm.
You're worse from being chilly and cold. And you're aggravated by cold, damp weather.
Yeah. So essentially, you're a cartoon character with a cold.
Yeah, could be. um, you also have a tongue that's smooth, red, and glossy.
Mm.
Not everybody looks at their tongue. I do. I think there's a really good tongue. You can look at your tongue and really know a lot about yourself with the tongue.
Yeah.
There's also this sensation of a hair on your tongue with this particular remedy. So there's some pretty detailed symptoms here. There's also this hoarseness and laryngitis that comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
You can have this rattling respiration in your sleep. The cough is worse in the morning on waking and worse from eating. And you also see this in diagnosis like a croup.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting one. I mean, it's pretty odd. This one's pretty like blatant, right? Like the discharge is very detailed. You see a lot of kids I find in daycare going to school at a young age, and they're all coming home with these, green snotty noses, right?
Yeah, and a lot of adults start to act like kids when they're sick can use that remedy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was a cool one.
Okay, so since you did the Cali Bic, I'm gonna do Cali Carb.
Okay.
Which also is a dry cough, which is the opposite of Cali Bic. It can develop into bronchitis. It's a crawling and tickling feeling in the chest. Its aggravation time is 2 to 4 a.m. in the morning.
When you're trying to sleep.
Yeah, so it'll wake you up at 2 to 4 o'clock every night for the cough.
Yeah.
Slightest draft of cold air will make the cough come on. Any exertion, a deep breath will make you cough.
Wow.
And warm food. Better sitting upright and bending forward. And there's always a stitching pain with each cough. So it's dry and painful with a tickling sensation in your chest.
And a lot of throat symptoms too, right? Like
Yeah.
hoarseness and difficulty swallowing and worse from being in the cold.
Mm-hmm. These remedies have long laundry lists. It's good to keep in especially with people who are just coming into homeopathy. It's good to just give them dot jobs.
Yeah. I mean, there's other things you could do as well other than homeopathy, obviously.
Yeah.
There's some rescue remedy that they have a lozenges
Mm-hmm.
that helps as well, or you can use zinc lozenges if you've got a sore throat with that.
There's a lot of herbal stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Enchantia, a cinnamon. There's a few barks other than cinnamon as well. There's elderberry. There's lots of stuff that can be used for colds.
And my dad used to make his own hot toddy, which I'm not advocating here, but it worked for him, or so he thought, right?
Yeah.
So hot toddies are good too. Some lemon, some honey. I won't tell you what else he put in there, but if it works, I've tried it a few times.
Yeah.
But obviously, we're not advocating that per se. But you've got to find something that works for you, and if the symptoms are relatively the same from time to time, then and you've tried something and it's worked, then you want to keep that remedy or that solution on hand.
Yes, definitely.
But the other thing that I think that people need to understand is to medicate pharmaceutically all the time because colds and coughs will go away in their own time. Now, obviously, if you're getting symptoms where you see some, some green or some colored discharge, or it's getting worse, or there's a high fever with it, then it's important to get
Yeah.
some treatment.
In my opinion, cough syrup is should be left as your last resort because it's mostly just sugar and water.
Yeah, well, we're natural medicine people,
Yeah.
so we're not always advocating for pharmaceutical over the counter information, right?
Yeah.
Or
I typically
solutions.
do a mix of homeopathy and herbal medicine when I have a cold.
Yeah. And then again, if all else fails and it's getting worse, then you should be going to emerge or seeing your
Yeah,
doctor. Like this
definitely.
isn't all exclusive. It's like, like there's a fair amount of common sense here.
Hmm.
Try it, and you should start when you get the right remedy. You should start to see the relief of the symptoms, and that's a
Definitely.
great thing. But if
Hmm.
you're not seeing relief and it's getting worse, then your next level up. You got to do
Hmm.
something else.
Okay. So which one are you doing next?
I'm going to do. How about allium cepa?
Ah, that's a good one.
Isn't it an onion?
Mm-hmm. Uh,
And some of this
Sweet
onion makes
onion, I
you
believe.
cry.
Yeah.
What's that?
I think it's sweet onion if I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's primarily used for colds, which is really, really great, and infections.
Mm-hmm.
So they're aggravated if you're in a warm room, and you feel better if you're in the open air.
Mm-hmm.
You get headaches with this, and your headaches are aggravated by closing your eyes, not getting a whole lot of sleep with this one.
Mm-hmm.
You get some lacrimation, so that's a little bit of water coming out of your eyes, and some nasal discharge that feels like acrid and excoriating. So it's a bit sharp and yeah, sharp like what do they call it? They call it acrid, so kind of like a painful type of
Yeah.
discharge where it's the kind of you would probably see
Burns.
red marks,
Yeah.
just because it's strong, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get that nasal discharge, which may, yeah, it might make this raw skin condition right here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a faucet. It's like running all the time. I've had this before, where your nose is always running and you can't, like, you're sitting with a box of Kleenex and you're like, you go through a box of Kleenex in a day.
Yeah.
So it's always running. You're always pulling it out. This particular remedy is also really good for uh, allergies as well. So that's good to know. And if you've got this really, really tearing pain in your larynx when you cough, this is it. This is the remedy for you. Again, it's well known for colds, and the symptoms are very obvious that you would choose this one.
Yeah.
And these are really, we have to talk about too, as well, as that when we talk about these remedies, we're talking about very acute situations,
Yeah.
right? Like colds just come on or coughs just come on, and you can, grab your first aid kit or homeopathic first aid kit. And Andrew and I both sell them separately. So
Mm-hmm.
there's all kinds of remedies in there that you could choose from to help you out depending on your symptoms. But definitely from a long-term perspective, you want to be able to, I wouldn't recommend somebody taking the same homeopathic remedy for a long term.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're looking to experiment a little bit, that's fine, but you should always seek the opinion of a homeopath, and they would steer you definitely in the right
Yeah.
direction.
Typically, your colds will be similar to each other, not always, but and they should only last like the 1 or 2 days with the remedy. Typically.
So that would be nice. That
Uh,
would be nice because that's when you've got it right.
yeah.
Otherwise, what does it take like for a cold to go away? 7 days, 5 to 7 days.
So you'll have the initial cold, and then you'll have the lingering symptoms. So once it
Yeah,
starts getting
yeah.
better, like I don't count the lingering symptoms with the main cold because for some
Well, I
people
do
it's a
because I just
week.
like it to go away completely.
Well, that's why I like when you have a healing crisis. Worst night of your life, you wake up, you're better. Love those.
All right, one more. What are you doing next?
Okay, I'm gonna do phos. So it's phosphorus. It's one of the most proven homeopathic remedies. Colds tend to go straight to the chest, so they tend to be green. So anything that comes out is green. So you'll either spit green mucus or, yeah, fun. It's worse laughter and talking. So
Mm.
uh, just talking or laughing will make you start coughing. The coughs are typically dry. Um, there's a tickling sensation. It's painful, and your chest will burn, and you'll be holding your chest. It'll be just a horrible cough. There's typically headaches with the cough, and they're usually exhausted. There's no energy in their body whatsoever. Um, and there's worse sleep, worse cold air, worse going from warm to cold, cold to warm. So just switching from one temperature room to another will make it worse. Lying on the left side will make it worse. Uh, but they're better lying on the right side, and they're better warm. But they're really not good with transitions.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, now you're faking. You're
Oh.
a faker. So, we talk about homeopathy. It's one of the oldest medicines in the world, and it's natural, so
Mm-hmm.
no side effects. Um, and they're just little pellets. So, I'll see if I can pull one out just to show you. They're very tiny. So it's like, and it's not expensive to get a remedy. You can find them in a variety of places. I don't even know if you could see this. If you hold it in my hand, maybe
You have to be in the
camera
circle.
needs to grab
Yeah.
it. There's a pellet, like
Yeah.
it's very tiny, and it's just a little bit of sugar, and you put it under your tongue and you let it absorb sublingually.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then wait. Homeopathy is a lot about taking a
And waiting.
remedy and waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Take another and wait. So it's that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I think Andrew and I have seen some amazing results. That's why we're here doing this type of work. Um, we'd like to be able to teach people more about it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be doing some face-to-face classes. Hopefully, as it gets a little bit warmer and not in the middle of a snowstorm like we are today. And if not, we'll continue doing podcasts. So you can always refer back to it
Yeah.
for a bit of
So
knowledge or
yeah, if we cancel, we'll be
give you.
online.
What's that? What's
if
that?
if we have to cancel the in-person ones, we'll be online.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well,
So
I'm actually going away for a few months, so we'll be doing some while I'm gone.
yeah.
It'll all be podcasts at that point, but feel free to reach out to Andrew or myself. So, Andrew, how do they get a hold of you?
So they can either get a hold of me on Facebook, they can call me, they can message me on Instagram. Google apparently has a way to contact me. I'm on YouTube. I'm on TikTok. So just search Arawas Wellness on anything and you'll find me.
Great. I'm the same. I'm not on TikTok though, but we are placing these videos on YouTube, and actually just found out how to share them to my YouTube channel this week. So the videos that we have already done are now on Charleston Lake Apothecary
Mm-hmm.
YouTube channel. Yeah, you'll see them also on Facebook and Instagram. Not the videos won't be on Instagram, but you can catch me there, or call me directly or email me.
Yeah.
I do have a website, so feel free to look it up. And always, here's my philosophy about things. I always like to try different modalities because you just never know which one you're going to really fall in love with, right? And one that really works for you. So
Mm-hmm.
I remember years ago, I just went through a whole bunch just to see, well, I don't know about Reiki, and I don't know about Bowen therapy, and I don't know about, and I just did a whole bunch just to see what it was like. And then then you find the one or a few
Mm-hmm.
that you really enjoy doing, and you stick with it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I
There
have.
is a young lady in the United States that her name's Paula Brown, and she's called the I think it's homeopathic mom or she advocates homeopathy from a mother perspective, which
Yeah,
is really nice to see. Yeah.
they're actually
All right.
becoming more popular again on social media after that attack a few years ago.
Yeah. Well, everybody has an opinion, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So next week, what are we doing?
So next week,
No, not next week. Two
the
weeks. 2 weeks
next
from now.
session, we're going to be talking about arthritis, uh,
Ooh, big
or
topic.
joint pain, muscle strains. So Russ Talks will be back again.
Yes, because the rest talks is amazing.
So
Yes, I tend to.
so don't
Mhm.
forget to like and subscribe for the video and the channels. The links should be in the description for the other person's channel. So depending where you're watching, so you're either you can go to a link to her channel or the link to my channel from her channel. That's fun.
My channel. That's all right. I think they know what you mean, and
Yeah,
yeah, we're easily accessible, and we're just here to do some really informal education. And if there's something you want to hear about and we haven't addressed it yet, by all means, shoot us off a
hmm
little message, and we'll put it in our queue of topics that we're going to talk about.
definitely yes. Oh, and don't forget to check out the homeopathic movie I uploaded to my channel. Um, it's just a repost because it seems like it disappeared from YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it used to be on there, and I was going to reference the channel, but they've been taken down. So,
Hmm. All right then.
yeah.
So I'm Lucie from Charleston Lake Apothecary, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks talking about arthritis.
Till next time.